Good evening, Hot Topic and Fresh News listeners. Today is the 5th of April, 2024, and we're bringing you the latest news. A sizable 4.8 magnitude earthquake shook the northeastern United States earlier today, from Washington, D.C. to New York City and all the way up to Maine. This was the third largest quake recorded in this area in the last 50 years and the strongest in New Jersey in over 240 years. However, despite its considerable magnitude, no major damages or injuries have been reported. In New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy confirmed limited damage and minimal injuries. The U.S. Geological Survey recorded at least 6 aftershocks in the immediate area following the earthquake. Meanwhile, in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Eric Adams assured that there were no life-threatening situations or reports of significant damages. Travel remained mostly unaffected, with thorough inspections and clearance of the main New York City airports and Amtrak trains back in operation under standard speeds. The quake was felt by millions across hundreds of miles of the Northeast, attributed to the region's geology, which allows the seismic energy to travel more efficiently and over longer distances. Aftershocks were recorded, but according to Governor Hochul, they are normal and do not pose a threat of further damage. While earthquakes in this region are rare, today's quake is a stark reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Authorities are on high alert and urge residents to remain vigilant. As always, stay tuned as we continue to monitor this developing story. Good evening, listeners. This is your host, Emily, bringing you the latest news on Hot Topic and Fresh News.
And I'm David, here to add a touch of analysis to your daily news digest.
We're here every day, same time, same channel. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Straight to the hot topics.
Can you provide more detail on the aftershock that occurred nearly 8 hours after the primary earthquake?
Certainly, an aftershock with a preliminary magnitude of 4.0 struck just southwest of Gladstone, New Jersey, according to the United States Geological Survey. This aftershock occurred almost 8 hours after the main shock of 4.8 magnitude.
How many aftershocks have been recorded since the main shock?
The USGS has recorded at least 10 aftershocks, but most of them were in the 1.8 to 2.2 magnitude range.
How have the residents of Newark, New Jersey been affected by this earthquake?
3 neighboring homes in Newark were evacuated after residents reported structural damage. This was a precautionary measure taken to ensure the safety of the residents.
What about New York? How did the authorities respond to the earthquake there?
New York Governor Kathy Hochul has confirmed that there have been no life-threatening situations or reports of damaged buildings. The mayor of New York City assured residents that there were no injuries and urged them to continue with their normal day. The New York City transit system continued to operate safely throughout.
And what about Philadelphia? Did they feel the tremors there too?
Yes, the Philadelphia Police Department received over 200 calls from 911 within a very short period of 20 minutes. Despite this, no injuries were reported.
Can you tell us more about the effects of the earthquake in Connecticut and Philadelphia?
In Connecticut, there were no reports of significant damage, but key infrastructure points were inspected as a precaution. Philadelphia also reported no injuries, despite receiving numerous calls to their emergency services.
What about the impact on travel in and around New York City?
The runways at the 3 main airports servicing New York City were inspected and cleared quickly, according to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. The bridges and tunnels were also unaffected, and after initially putting speed restrictions in place for track inspections, Amtrak trains have now resumed normal operation.
How widespread was the impact of this earthquake?
The shaking was felt by millions of people across hundreds of miles of the Northeast. The geology of the region played a significant role in this, with the rocks in the eastern U.S. being much older, denser, and harder. This allowed the seismic energy released by the earthquake to travel in a more potent form over longer distances.
I see. Interrupting here to highlight the magnitude of this earthquake. These factors mentioned by you have led to an incredibly widespread impact, reaching millions of people across the Northeast. Quite a reminder of the power of nature and the importance of well-prepared emergency response systems.
There was a series of aftershocks following the initial earthquake. They ranged in magnitude from 1.8 to 2.2. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York reassured the public, stating that aftershocks of these size are normal and are not expected to cause further damage.
That's interesting. It reminds me of when an earthquake hit San Francisco a few years back. There was a series of aftershocks then too, but thankfully, the damage was minimal and people were able to quickly return to their daily lives.
It's interesting you should say that because it also recalls a time when a similar earthquake struck Japan. Despite the fear and anxiety, people there showed remarkable resilience and quickly returned to their normal routines. It just goes to show how different regions have different ways of dealing with the same natural disaster.
Indeed, the response and resilience of people in the face of such events is truly admirable. It's a testament to the human spirit. Can you shed some light on the historical significance of this earthquake?
Indeed. This 4.8 magnitude earthquake was the third strongest to hit New Jersey. It's also the most powerful since 1783, making it the strongest in over 240 years. The two only stronger earthquakes recorded in the state were 5.1 magnitude temblors in 1755 and 1783.
How does this quake compare to others in the Northeast region?
This quake is the third strongest to hit the Northeast in the last 50 years and the 10th strongest of all time in the region. It's worth mentioning that earthquakes in New Jersey and the region are rare. There have only been 24 earthquakes of 2.5 magnitude or greater in New Jersey since 1700.
What has been the impact on the New York City transit system?
The Metropolitan Transport Authority reported that all aspects of the New York City transit system are operating safely following the earthquake. Initial facility inspections have been completed, and no abnormalities have been flagged.
What are the chances of aftershocks following this quake?
According to the New York City Emergency Management Commissioner, there is a low likelihood of aftershocks following this earthquake. Despite the low likelihood of aftershocks, New Yorkers are being urged to stay vigilant. The New York City Emergency Management Commissioner has provided some safety guidelines. If an aftershock does occur and you're outside, it's best to move to an open area, far from buildings, trees, and power lines. If you're driving, pull over in a safe location.
It seems the city is also well prepared for this. The earthquake triggered the activation of the city's emergency response teams, and officials quickly issued guidance to the public. Their coordination with all city, state, and federal partners demonstrates their readiness to handle such emergencies.
Absolutely. This level of preparedness shows that despite the infrequency of such events, the authorities are well equipped to handle them when they do occur. The citizens can also call 311 to report any damage, ensuring that any impacts are handled swiftly and efficiently.
That's reassuring to hear. As we wrap up the main news thread of today's episode, it's important to remind everyone that even though earthquakes might be rare in this part of the country, being prepared and knowing what to do when one strikes is crucial.
Thank you for joining us today on Hot Topic and Fresh News. We've delved into the intriguing occurrence of a rare earthquake in the Northeast, its historical significance, and the city's response. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe, activate those notifications, and share our podcast with your friends, family, and colleagues. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments.
Absolutely. And remember, we're here every day analyzing the news you need to know about, and occasionally some lighter fun stuff too. So keep an eye out for what's coming next. It's sure to be interesting.
We truly value your time and your attention. We're looking forward to you joining us on the next episode of Hot Topic and Fresh News.
Until then, stay in the loop. Keep your eyes on the news. Our channel's content will amuse.